Welcome and welcome back to everyone joining us on the Rooted to Thrive Conversations that Elevate Your Humanity podcast. I'm your host, Rochelle Peterson-Ansari, aka Professor P. I have none other than the Zakkiyah Boone, CEO of WonderSpring Early Education, with me today. She is someone who has worked tirelessly for 28 years in education and youth advocacy. She is a mother, besides mothering other people's children. And she is a Black woman committed to equity and inclusion. Zakiyyah and I'm honored to say, met through actually, I believe we first met through the Black nonprofit chief executives of Philadelphia. And I remember she leads the advocacy committee. And I remember this tall, regal woman gets up. She had a red dress on that day. Yes. And she just was brilliant, like literally like sunshine when she was speaking to us. And I was just drawn to her. Then this woman becomes my sorority sister. Yes, 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 and yes. Yes. And I am just so thrilled to have her as a part of that sisterhood, although she was already my sister. Yeah. And yeah, she's been my ride to Lambda Gamma, which is the sorority chapter that I pledged at Millersville University. Her daughter is, yes, a member of the same chapter. And like I said, she was my ride because I was like, ooh, I'm not going to Central Pennsylvania by myself anymore. And as she is so generous, just offered to take me there. And it's been a tight bond ever since that ride. So, Zakiyyah, how are you doing today?
You know what? After that introduction, I feel even better, but I feel like sunshine today
Mm,
because I woke up in the morning. I thank God for letting me see another day, put my feet on the ground, and decided to be where my feet are
mhm.
and to just move in that space. So I am or should I say,
Mm.
sensational today.
I love it. Sensational. I love it, love it, love it. Well, before we get started, I'm so curious. When you heard the name of our podcast, Rooted to Thrive,
hmm
Conversations that Elevate Our Humanity, what did
hmm
you think?
The first thing I thought was rooted to thrive sounds like growth.
Mm,
And then the tagline, Conversations to Elevate Our Humanity, made me think about inspiration, things that are common to human beings, all of
mm,
us, regardless of our differences. And I immediately thought this podcast probably focuses energy on ways that we are alike and united rather than the things that divide us.
mm. Yes, I love that. United, not divided. I
Mhm.
actually was coming up with a little haiku about that the other day.
Okay.
I don't know. Okay, something's happening in the atmosphere.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, like literally thinking divided we fall, right?
Yes.
But then
Yes.
when we fall down, but we get up
Yes.
and together
Yes.
we
Okay,
stand
Professor P,
strong.
the
I don't
poet.
know. I didn't listen. I just went to a little workshop recently that got unlocked. The woman did ask me if I was a poet. I was like, no, ma'am.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, but after she asked us to write a haiku that day, a haiku came to me, just a few days later. And it was that
Mm,
one. So for you to say, this is about us being united and not divided means so much. So that must be
mhm.
a message for this week.
Mm-hmm.
Must be a message for this week. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
So let's get into it. Can you share just a little bit about your background? Who is Zakkiyah Boone?
Mm. So, happily, I'll share a little bit about me. But I am a passionate, I think that passion is the word most people would use to describe my approach to education. Extraordinarily passionate about the importance of quality education for children near and far because I strongly believe that education is the fastest road out of poverty. And so the reason I'm actually in education is not just for education's sake, but to eradicate poverty
Mhm.
because it is so pervasive in so many other ways that people don't even consider. And so my work, my I've committed my life's work to figuring out how do I help enrich the lives of children and young people so that they get a great education, they value learning, so that they want better, so they know better, so they can do better.
Yes,
That's
knowing
me.
better to do better. I love it.
That's me.
That's you. Okay, I hear that. Excellent. And I don't think I knew that, right? That you thought education was the fastest road out of poverty because it influences so many other areas of our lives. I
Yes.
love that.
Yes.
That's excellent. I
Yes.
think I came into this work just thinking it's just the right thing to do.
Yes, of course. Right? Yes.
Right?
But why do we need education?
Mm-hmm. Hmm. Yes.
Like we
Yeah.
need it for something, not just for education's sake all the time. We need it so we learn how to access resources. We need it so we learn how to navigate spaces. We
Mm-hmm.
need education so that we learn how to even understand information that is being given to us. So, like, these are all the things that you need education for that help get you out of poverty.
Hello. Yes, indeed. Well, thank you. Yes, just for making it plain. Making it plain. So
Yes.
tell us a little bit about how you got involved in this work.
So fun fact, I wanted to be a teacher ever since I was about 5 years old. When I went to first grade, I didn't go to kindergarten. I skipped kindergarten from Head Start and went straight to
You
first grade.
too.
And my very first teacher, her name is Miss Panky. Also, fun fact, I'm still in touch with her to this day. She and I send each other inspirational text messages. But when I got to Miss Panky's first grade classroom, oh, I wanted to be just like her ever since then.
Wow.
Even though back in that day, she used to wrap my knuckles with the ruler if I was talking too much in class, and of course we don't do that anymore. But even though she was very hard on me, I wanted to be just like her. And she instilled in me how important it was for me to be smart and not just pretty. For me to know what I'm talking about and have confidence. And even though I was literally just learning ABCs, one, two, threes, like I'm in first grade,
Mhm.
the value of education started there. And so I grew up my whole life wanting to do that. Went to Millersville University, as you know, majored in education, graduated, got a job as a kindergarten teacher, taught for 1 year, and hated it.
Oh,
Hated it. Said, oh no, I can't do this. I cannot do this for the rest of my days. Get me out of here. So then I sought out other jobs in support of education, right? But not as a direct delivery model in education. And so I really feel like I got into this work because I was called by God to be here. And even though I didn't arrive in this field the way I thought, 28 years later, I'm still here.
I love it. Okay, it's kind of eerie how many things we have in common. First of all, this just reminded me, like, oh, we have so much in common that we skipped kindergarten and went straight into first grade from preschool. Well, I did, right? And then actually, I did want to educate, but I never wanted to be a teacher. I actually started studying education because I wanted to be a parent
Mm,
that knew how to raise a child with a healthy sense of self.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. And yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
recently had to reflect on that because I was like, yeah, you never really wanted to be a teacher,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And found myself doing direct service, but at the college level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and
Mm-hmm.
then we do have a connection to the like the outer school time programming. I
Mm-hmm.
started working with youth and and then the I started focusing on educating teachers
Mm-hmm.
because I was witnessing adults coming to college, like those who had been out of school for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Those people were coming to school with such poor self-efficacy, coming back to college. And I was like, wait, but then they are somebody else's parents.
Right.
Something's got to give.
We gotta fix this.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
indeed. And then, of course, when we were at a retreat last year, we found out we have the same middle name.
Yes.
Remember?
So many can like again things that are we have way more alike than we even knew.
Huh? Yes, indeed.
Yes.
Well, yeah. So, okay. So today's topic is actually not about us and our commonality, y'all. I promise. But what
Yes.
we are going to talk about is identifying implicit bias in education. So, when we left it open to you to choose any topic that you wanted, you chose this. Tell us about what you want to share with our listeners about implicit bias in education.
The number one thing that I think is important for educators far and wide to know is you might say it's not me, but it's you. It's you too. It's
Mhm.
all of us. It is all of us. It is very human nature. It is like the blind spot is every single person has it, right? So, and it doesn't always have to necessarily be, oh, the most, it doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make you negative. It is just human nature. I'll give you an example. I'm sitting here, I'm looking at you. I see that you've got these beautiful earrings in your ear, and they look like they might have been handmade. My implicit bias is going to tell me, oh, Rochelle likes handmade jewelry. That's just my bias. You could have bought them from the dollar store. They could have been mass produced. You could, right? Like, I don't know any of that, but my bias is automatically led me to an opinion about something that I've perceived about you that I have no facts to back up. So it happens all the time. The challenge is when it happens in education is it there's risk of harm because it could negatively impact the relationship between the teacher and the student.
Correct.
Now, we all know science proves children learn better from teachers that they like.
Mm.
So if the child perceives that the teacher doesn't like them, then the child's not going to like that teacher either. The child's less likely to learn from that teacher. So that if that implicit bias causes harm, I automatically think because Rochelle likes all this hand carved jewelry, she's very spacey, and of course I'm making all this up. But
Uh-huh.
she's very spacey, and I have this implicit bias in my head and these preconceived notions about Rochelle and what Rochelle does or does not like. Even how I approach Rochelle with certain projects.
Hmm.
I might not ask Rochelle if she's interested in the art club, right?
Right. That's
Or
right.
I may only ask Rochelle if she's interested in the art club because I think, oh, Rochelle, you like handmade earrings, so of course you're going to want to be in the art club.
Hmm.
Bias. That's my
Right.
bias coming out instead of making that a universal ask of all the students. So
Hmm.
so recognizing that no matter who we are, no matter where we come from, we are human beings. We're automatically going to have a thought about something. And just that awareness helps us to prevent allowing that implicit bias to hack to cause harm.
Yes, indeed. And where it can really cause harm, as you mentioned, in the classroom, I think about girls in math, for example, right?
Exactly.
So there are many
Exactly.
social forces, right? That
Exactly.
that are telling
Exactly.
us that, oh yeah, math is for boys. Girls, they don't need it. They're not good at it. Like
Yes.
literally things we're breathing in.
Yes.
That's how it
No,
gets into your unconscious. Go ahead. Yeah.
no, literally,
Hmm.
bias can absolutely show up in subtle patterns. For example, are boys more likely to get called on to answer that math problem than the girls?
Hmm. Yes,
And
often
like
it
the
is.
teacher is, I'm going to just say, like, let's just give folks benefits of the doubt. I don't think teachers are sitting there saying, I'm intentionally going to call on the boys more than I
Correct.
call on the girls. It is
Correct.
implicit. You don't even see it. You don't even like recognize it until somebody points it out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why the awareness is so important.
Hmm.
So important. And it shows up in ways, especially when you talk about gender, it shows up in ways that are so ingrained in us, like it has been part of our culture forever. There's a book by Reshma Sajani called Brave Not Perfect. And in that book, she talks about even from when we're very, very young, girls are supposed to be perfect and clean and pretty and sit with your legs folded and don't get a boo boo.
Hmm.
And boys are go out there, tough it out. If you fell off your bike, get up and try, right?
Hmm.
Just all of those kinds of social norms, they create that implicit bias. So it's literally a blind spot. You don't even know it. So we just have to be willing to say, me too. Despite
Yes.
what I thought I knew, me too. I have implicit bias. The awareness
Correct.
that I have it allows me to overcome it.
Yes, yes. And there were a couple of things you said that sparked a thought, right? So I worked some time ago with the Outer School Time program for United Way, and it was for girls. And we were bringing girls together from different nonprofits once a month, right? And the nonprofit agency representatives would be the people who served as mentors to the girls, and they would also um, they would create the activities for the day, right? After I did the curriculum work, right? Okay. So what I noticed after the first year, like throughout the first year, was that whenever the girls came in, the agency reps, all women, would compliment them only on how they looked. These are people who absolutely would tell you from their conscious mind, they know that a girl is more than what she looks like. However, they've learned a pattern of complimenting girls on their bodies. And I think we know the harm that can do.
Hello.
Yes, right? This girl is thinking my body is my worth,
Is my value.
is my
How
value.
I look
Mm-hmm.
is what my value is completely trapped in how I look.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Period.
And so that's the implicit bias.
Mm-hmm.
And I am so convinced that educators are not out here trying to cause
No,
intentional harm.
no.
They are not out here trying to say, you know what, we're going to steer. That's not the case. But it's again, that's why it is
Mhm.
called implicit.
Right.
It's not
Exactly.
intentional bias, it is implicit.
That's right. That's right. And so we do it as parents, we do it as grandparents, as aunties and uncles and family members. We do it as human beings.
Yes,
And
yes,
we are who we are everywhere
yes,
we are.
yes,
So if you do it at
yes,
home, guess what? You do it at work.
yes, yes,
Yeah, it just
yes.
shows up differently,
It
right?
just shows up. And
Mm-hmm.
so the thing that I feel is important for, and I'm going to say educators, yes, because educators have a responsibility to care for children, but
Mm-hmm.
just we as human beings, back to
Correct.
humanity,
Mm-hmm.
just being conscious of how that bias might slip in,
Mm-hmm.
how we engage. So aside from the children, teachers or educators also have to engage with parents.
Yes.
You started off right there. am I automatically thinking because this parent might be a single mom and might work two jobs or whatever, am I automatically presuming they don't have time to talk to me about their child's education? So am I less likely to call them to say your child is doing great or your child is challenged? Because I have a bias that thinks, oh, they don't want to talk to me. I'm not going to call them. I'm not going to involve them.
Right.
Like,
Right.
what are the other ways that that bias might show up? How am I engaging with other teachers? Am I
Mm-hmm.
more or less likely to engage with a first year teacher versus a 10-year teacher
Mm-hmm.
on how we support this child's learning based upon the bias that I already perceive?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just so many ways we just have to be keep an open mind and
Yes.
recognize that I didn't think it was me, but yep, it's me too.
That's right. It's all of us. So it is
All of
about the
us.
it's about the question that you ask yourself. So the other thing that you mentioned earlier when you were talking about the boys, right? And the boys could be messy and the girls had to be clean and disciplined, right? There's been many studies done on raising hands and how much we pay attention and boys calling out, etc. That sets them up, right? Like if you are in a male identified body, that you can take risks, you can blurt out things, you can, kind of control the space. And that if you're in a female identified body, you don't.
Listen to me. Listen to me. And so I'll just say for anyone listening, I'm 5'11",
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
I am very blessed with this height. And so I recognize that and use that, like my height and my physical presence when I am in a space. I use that to empower other women in that space to also show up as their full selves,
mhm.
despite the other 5'11" men that might be in the room, because of that exact reason. That bias automatically can automatically categorize women as, well, I'll allow so and so to say what they have to say. And let me tell you something, a candle loses nothing by lighting another candle. I don't have to dim my light in order for your light to shine.
That's right.
Both of our lights can shine as brightly as we need. So what sometimes it just takes that spark so that we don't fall into those norms of this man's going to show up and dominate the space and it's going to be okay and everybody's going to be okay with it.
That's right.
Or this older person, this senior is going to show up and the young person feels like they have nothing to contribute.
Right.
Or any of the bias
Mhm.
that shows up in the room with us, that awareness helps us to make sure that it doesn't cause harm.
There you go. There you go. And I'm going to give another example that probably will take you somewhere else. I love it. So, because you're sparking so many ideas, excuse me, or memories, really. Working with a student teacher at one point, who was in a classroom where literally, I want to say half of the students were English emerging English language learners, right? And some new, brand new to the school and maybe even to the country, right? And I remember an administrator saying to me, "Oh, well, we don't really, excuse me, their families don't really engage with us." Right? Their families don't really engage with us.
Now
Like they just drop.
my wheels are already spinning.
Well, go ahead. Come on, let it out. Let it out.
No, like
Yep.
of course they're going to say that. Are they not engaging with you or are you not engaging with them?
Oh, come on, talk about it now. Come on, talk about it.
Right? Because
Yes.
again, the bias is, oh, there's a language barrier. They don't really want to talk to us.
There you go.
That,
Mm-hmm.
oh, they're going to feel uncomfortable. Oh, they don't want to come over here. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
is that really true?
Is
Or
that? Mm-hmm.
right? So like again, let's fact check that information. Let's fact check where are the
Mm-hmm.
receipts on they don't really want to engage. Where are the receipts on that? I'm asking for them because maybe
Yes.
it is true. Not all
Mm-hmm.
parent, not regardless of language barrier, whatever. Some parents just don't want to engage, and for whatever that reason is. But Mm, for the most part, parents care about their child's education. For the
Mm-hmm,
most
mm-hmm,
part.
mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, they do. And there's likely something else mixed in there, right? Like that if there is the assumption that if the child is Spanish dominant or some other language dominant, right? I was going to say Turkish, but I don't know that that's a language. But I was at another school. There was a lot of students from Turkey for some reason. And yeah, and so I think there is an assumption that the person dropping them off does not speak English or at all or well enough to be conversant with me, right? And then therefore I as the teacher, assistant who's going to pick up the children might perceive, okay, well, I'm not going to, since I have that assumption, I'm not going to take that risk of sounding stupid myself if I'm not Spanish dominant, etc. And the reason why I brought that up is because I often ask myself, well, with all of the little programs out there like Duolingo, um, and there's other language, there's apps out there where you speak your language
Literally, Google
into it,
Translate, you can it can translate the
translate for
conversation in
you.
real time for you.
Exactly. That I think, why wouldn't you use that? And so when I think about, well, why wouldn't someone use a tool? Because something's going on with you, right? That won't allow you to take the risk. One, maybe to sound dumb or, like not conversant yourself in their language. And then also, here goes the implicit bias. We're trained in American culture that everybody should speak English.
Yes. We're right. We're automatically right.
Mhm.
Like our
So
way is
you,
automatically the best way. It just
right,
be our way.
right. So somebody else has to do something
Yes. Yes.
to come
Yes.
over to our way of thinking and doing things.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is the recognizing to prevent harm.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And right, like in this scenario with immigrant children, we're in a space with people who literally now you're in a classroom with them and the people the young people in your classroom are now sitting there like just staring at you. Right? Like they're staring at you because you don't know what to do. You haven't made any effort. You're making assumptions also that it's somebody else's job because there's the English language specialist in the school, for example, to learn that when it just takes something very simple, a little app that you can have on your phone that allows you to translate and reach that child. Yes?
There has to be a will. There
Mm.
has to be a willingness
Mm-hmm.
to do that. And it starts with our recognition of our own limitations. It
Mm-hmm.
starts with me. I have to be the change I want to see.
That's right. And our own limitations. That I'm glad you mentioned that because I think a lot of people who choose education, especially to be in pre-K to 12, the experience I have had is that there's some desire in that space where you have a lot of control. Yeah.
And well, that's a whole nother discussion for a whole
Right.
nother day. But it is very true. Like a lot of teachers have control issues. It
Hmm.
has to be my way because that's the only way I can maintain control over this classroom. I
Hmm.
can't have these students running all over me. I'm gonna be out of control.
Hmm.
And that the fear of relinquishing control actually diminishes their power.
Right, right. And it does tap into your own biases, right? Adults are supposed to be in control. And a good classroom looks like this. It's quiet.
And that
You,
again,
you
back to
know.
bias. Who said
Hmm.
that? Who says that's the case?
Unfortunately, a lot of examples that they've seen have said that,
And
right?
wait, and heaven forbid, I'm not even gonna go there, but was that the administration, the bureaucracy that says You are only a good teacher if you have complete control over your classroom. Your students are sitting at their desks. Everyone is quiet and engaged. Everyone is following. Are we robots or are we people? What's happening
Mm-hmm,
here?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. And when you teach people that they are the conveyor of knowledge versus children having knowledge to bring to that space themselves. Yes. I just think
Absolutely.
I think this whole thing is such common sense. Like if little children, I would even say youth, right, like to play most of their day. Doesn't it make sense to engage them in something that's active and of interest to them to help
Right.
them learn?
Right.
Yeah,
Right. Like,
common sense.
but it is counterintuitive based upon what we've been taught.
Correct. Correct. And that's the thing about the implicit bias that we've been conditioned in such a way. That's why we're saying nobody's a bad person. Your brain has been given a message over and over and over again from different sources, okay? Don't look to point the finger. It doesn't matter. But different sources, mass media, schools, your teachers, your parents, people in religious organizations, all over the place. These things are reinforced to
Yeah.
no fault of your own.
Yes. And that's the reason why I'm saying I started with this.
Hmm.
Even when you think it's not me, that's not me, I don't have any
Hmm.
bias. It's me, it's you
Hmm.
too, it's all of us.
Hmm.
Don't worry because you're not alone. It is all of us. We all have it in some way, shape, or form. We
Hmm.
just have to be brave enough to acknowledge that we have it so that we can manage it.
Yes. Indeed, indeed, indeed. Can you tell us a little bit about any common challenges you encounter as you try to promote that message?
Yeah, the number one is fear because unfortunately there is a fear of if I admit that I have bias that automatically makes me a racist or a misogynist or some other negative term, which that's not the case.
That's right.
I could think like bias just means I automatically leaned towards one opinion without fact.
That's right.
Doesn't mean that that's necessarily you could lean towards my favorite color is yellow without fact,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it eliminating that fear is step number one. Is we're not putting a bad label on you. You're not a bad
Mm-hmm.
person because no one wants to be labeled as the bad guy
Yeah.
or as
Right.
that bad thing.
Right.
So that is the biggest challenge to overcoming it. And then just identifying where it creeps in is next.
Yes, indeed, indeed. Where does it creep in? And you can do this yourself, actually, right? With
Of
the right
course,
tools.
you
Mm-hmm.
actually should do this if you're committing yourself to a better humanity.
Mm-hmm.
And by nature of not wanting those negative labels placed upon oneself,
Mm-hmm.
I feel it is safe to say that then you're committed to a better humanity. And
Mm-hmm.
if you are in fact committed to that, then challenge yourself, challenge your own bias, and be willing to face that in all settings, all the time.
Yes, indeed, indeed. Being willing to admit it. Now, what are some practical strategies, if we can think in some real concrete terms, that leaders, that educators, parents can implement in their own lives, in their interactions with children that help them kind of hijack their own implicit bias?
I would say, um,
Mhm.
fact check,
Yes.
fact check, fact check.
Okay.
What is the story that I'm telling myself,
Good
and
question.
what are the facts that are before me
Okay.
in every situation? Go ahead.
Great. I just wanted to interrupt right there. Okay. That is, I wanted you to say that again, that you want people to fact check. I want to mention one thing though, right? Some people are going to say, well, see, my experience with people before yes, informs
which
what
is
I'm.
exactly what I said. What is the story that I'm telling myself?
Mm-hmm.
The story that I'm telling myself is people that wear wooden earrings
Mm-hmm.
like handmade jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
That's the story that I'm telling myself.
Right.
But is that a fact about Rochelle?
Right. Right.
That's the
Right.
fact checking part.
There you go. Take the person out of the group that
Yes,
you're putting them in.
absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. Because the story that I'm telling myself, of course, that's where bias comes from. Our
Mm-hmm.
experiences,
Mm-hmm.
right? Our exposure, what our knowledge, what do we know? That's where the bias is built.
Mm-hmm.
The fact checking comes in asking the questions.
Mm.
Rochelle, do you like handmade jewelry?
Come on now. Ask a question.
Ask the question.
Period. Ask the question, right? And of the person that you're making
As opposed to making the assumption
assumption.
or presumption.
Mm-hmm. Yes, important. And that's critical. Listen, we're talking about humans, so I want to say it out loud. It's critical in dealing with any human being. This is not just about your work. This is, we can actually shift this if every person was doing that instead of falling
Exactly.
prey to the
Exactly.
assumption.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly. And just a really quick example of sharing power and eliminating bias in a classroom setting, just to give a quick, easy strategy. Instead of the teacher always calling on the student for the answer, allow a student to call on a student for the answer.
Hmm.
Allow set up partners. Draw numbers out of a basket, and every student has a number. Like, there are ways to overcome that, to eliminate my own bias so that I don't defer one way or the other. And it's just real easy. That's just a super easy way to do it.
Yes, indeed. Yes. Actually, I was in another classroom when someone was doing pretty well with many of the things, right? In terms of communicating with children, even was bilingual and was able to allow the students to speak in their native tongue uh, before translating, right? Like, so the teacher would speak in English, or the teacher would speak in Spanish. They would let the Spanish dominant students speak in Spanish to a certain extent. They're still learning English because they understood in English. They understood what he was saying, but could
Of
just
course.
rattle off their answer quicker in Spanish. So it made the teacher had to be better, if you will.
Maybe the teacher had to do
Right?
something a little different.
Right.
Yes.
But listen, this is the thing. So when I was observing, I noticed that the person said, so boys and girls move to oh no, all the boys go do X, right? Like I think everybody was moving around. So they, to control movement, they were saying only the girls move and then only the boys. It took an outsider, right, sitting in the room to say, how would a student who identifies as transgender
Gender neutral.
or right, gender fluid have received that? So could we, and they had other categories, right? Like they had names for their tables, their
Absolutely.
table group. Could they have been
Absolutely.
moved that way? Hmm.
Absolutely, absolutely,
Hmm.
absolutely. And listen, it doesn't make you a bad person because you refer to kids as boys and girls.
Right.
We've been referring to kids as boys and girls for hundreds of years. We get it, we get it. But just be open to other possibilities and then ask the questions to be willing to make the changes.
That's right. And I have to say, right, it was easy to say because I was sitting and observing, right? There's a lot of moving pieces, so I understand that. But to be able to point that out in a loving way, right, for consideration. So I'm speaking to the administrators now, right, to
In a loving
communicate
way.
in a loving way to a teacher because their wellness needs to be intact as well, right? People can't give what they don't have.
That's true. That is the truth.
So when we teach them, right, when we support them, observe them, and help them elevate, we do that from a humane space where we uphold their human dignity. They are more likely to do the same with children and their families.
Yes.
Hmm.
Wow. Absolutely.
Excellent. Well, excuse me, Zakkiyah Boone, what would be some final advice that you would give to someone looking to just improve their sense of their cultural competence, inclusive practices related to the topic of implicit bias? And again, I know you've already told us, fact check.
And of course ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
But it's okay to be awesome.
Ah, come on now. Mm,
It's okay to be awesome because it's awesome to include other people in
mm,
their perceptions. It's
mm,
awesome to ask questions that show that you care about individuality. It's awesome to want to learn more about other people
mm.
and the ways to improve humanity. Those are all awesome things. It is perfectly okay to be awesome.
Hmm. I love it. I love it. That, and listen, that's a mic drop right there. It is perfectly okay to be
It's okay
awesome.
to be awesome.
I love that. Yes. Well, Mrs. Boone, Ms. Boone, can you please share with us how we could be in touch with you after, if you would like?
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely. Of course, you can follow me on Instagram at
Mhm.
ZRBoone. You can reach WonderSpring at WonderSpring Early Education at www.wonderspring.org. Of course, we're on LinkedIn as well. Happy to have new followers and folks following WonderSpring. We do awesome work for over 60 years as a nonprofit childcare provider. And so we're honored to be of service of the community to the community, and I am humbled to lead such an incredible organization. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you, and thank you for your leadership. And with the youngest among us, yes,
Mhm.
they are really in good hands. And other
Thank
people
you.
out there just starting out on this journey as leaders for the youngest among us, look up Zakkiyah Boone, okay? Get this young lady to help you be awesome.
Yeah, because it's okay. Thank
And
you.
it's okay. Again, thank you so much. And I am so thankful to the Rooted to Thrive tribe. I've been saying that, trying to get that in my mouth because you are the Rooted to
I
Thrive
like that.
tribe.
They're rooted to thrive
Yes,
tribe.
for hanging with us. Appreciate you all for joining us on Rooted to Thrive.